What's up, man?
I want to make like some kind of a content pipeline. Right? One of the things I like to do is just go, okay, we're going to create a new skill. Create a skill that is like my new ideas, like create new idea. So if I go, you can type in / create new idea, or if I just say, hey, I've got a new content idea and I want to take that general raw idea, I want to store that, but then I want you to ask me follow-up questions about it so that we can create kind of like a thesis, the contrarian point about it, and kind of pull a few
Yeah.
extra details
Yep.
out of me to sort of make me just like think about it and talk about it a little bit more. And it uses a template, and then it creates what did it call it? A content package or something like that. And then it saves that in a file with kind of the name of the topic. And the idea is that it's like, okay, is that going to be mainly like a long form video? And is it going to be a blog post? And like, I don't know, like, I'll just tell you this idea and then I'll keep expanding on it. And it just sort of keeps the notes for it.
Right.
And then I can try to repurpose it for different kinds of content or whatever. And then when I go to like, okay, hey, I need to start making some content. I got to do a video, can I quickly get it set up? That's a big thing too. But then can I just go to that and say, oh yeah, I remember I have an opinion about that. I've got something to say about that. And then I can, do a recording and you just don't want it. I don't want it to be tons of labor either. Right.
Right.
So also, I'd have like notes of ideas of, a blog post or something like that. And it's fine to get that rough idea out there, but you just sort of see that mountain of effort.
So you do that in
like,
in file structure. So like I did something similar because this brain dumping, right? Getting the idea out of your head because otherwise it like pops in and then you forget about it. So I started like writing things down in Google Keep, and then eventually I started migrating all of that over. Once I started using Claude, I was like, let me just make a dashboard. And then I created an MCP connection so that, like you say, as I'm kind of chatting with Claude and an idea pops in my head and I'm kind of just fleshing out that idea, that I can say, like, that's really good. I want to save that, like add that over to my master console. And then I can like reference it later or like categorize it in a way, but it gives me like a UI to kind of deal with.
So what do you mean you use MCP? How did you set up an MCP to do that?
So I created the little application, and then in order to get it to talk with Claude, I have to make a connection. And the connection point, I just tell Claude Code that I didn't know anything about MCPs until I started making this thing. And I was like, I need you to be able to talk to this piece of software. How do we do that? And
so you made a piece of software that then you wanted it to talk to?
Yeah. My master console. So I wanted a place for like task management. I wanted a detached memory. I wanted to be able to brain dump into it. And then as I'm working on like little apps and features, and I wanted to create, like, I call it a dev console. And I add projects there, and those projects will have like a feature add or a bug fix or some other like implementation thing that I'm going to add. And then it will like build out like a strategy for fixing a bug or whatever, kind of like as I'm using the app. Maybe I'm like my CRM that I'm working on, and I see like I don't like the way that something's set up, but I'm not at the desk. I can just tell Claude to add it to the dev, and it'll go in, find that project, and add it as a bug that needs fixed. And then when I get back, I can have like a whole list of these bugs that need fixed, and I'll just go to Claude Code and I'll say, hey, those bugs that we had today, can we go one at a time and just run down them? Or if they're kind of small enough, I'll just mass do at one push, But
yeah, I'm not at that level of trust with it personally.
no.
I mean, I'll get it to do the work, but like I'm asking it to explain itself.
Yeah. I got 11 applications up so far. between websites, and they're kind of, some of them run in tandem. Like I'll build a website and then the application for that website, kind of um, like Eminence has its public facing website, but then it has the CRM underneath of it and the drywall company. There's a golf group that I'm helping build an app to organize. It's a networking group. And so you have all these kind of random people that play, and you don't want like four realtors showing up and playing together. That just doesn't go so well for networking. So it's supposed to decide the category of person and then creates kind of a randomized list and prints out cart labels and emails the pro house, pro shop, things like that.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm building stuff for clients, and I'm always trying to make it so that it's more generic. So there are some apps, but I find in general for my own stuff, I sort of have a bias for, I don't want like a new app or a new place to keep stuff, right? It's like, I've got a hard drive, it's got a folder structure, and I want to just do the thing. And I was thinking, you know what? Like, I just saw the new Google book. Did you see this?
No, I have a Chromebook.
The Chromebook, right?
Yeah.
And so I saw the new Google book, and it just looks like kind of fancy dumbed down Windows. Like it's all with all like the AI integrated in. And this is just my hot take, having just seen a couple of videos. You know, I haven't used it, but it's got icons on the desktop, and you can, like, one of the main things that it's excited about is that you can make widgets. You can just say, hey, I want a weather widget. And, you know, you're in trouble when you're still, the marquee thing in your like 1.5-minute launch video is again about the booking flights and again about the weather. It's like,
that's true.
Who books that many flights, really? Right? Like, how many vacations do you take where it's like, oh my God, it planned my vacation? And I get it that it's like a generic example of a multi-step thing that requires, you know, some consideration. But it seems like they're missing what I see as the point of AI, or like the opportunity around it. It seems like there's a group of people and content creators, that there's like a channel of the big future, the doomerism,
right?
A robot for every human, and that's all really cool, and there's nothing wrong with that,
right?
And it's like, well, but then there's like, okay, that'll probably be sooner than we think, but it's not going to be tomorrow. And then on sort of the other side, it's a lot about the coding and the building and all that stuff, which I think, if you're just a user of a computer, where like the computer's your tool to do your job, it's like, I don't want to build anything. I just want to use my computer.
Right.
And one of these companies needs to just, I would say, buy Nike just for the just do it. Instead of it's like, just do it, it's just do it.
Right.
Like, that's where I find myself with my computer and going through these steps now, especially for work, is I just want to tell my computer to do it, right? Create this document, create this presentation, solve this problem for me.
Yeah.
Go out and do research for me and bring it back to me. And I don't want to have like apps and clicking on this and that. And I still saw so much of that in the video. And I just thought it was just a huge missed opportunity. and like, where's the next step? Not like the next epoch, right? Where the machines are in charge and everything, but it's like, you hear like Jensen Huang and, all the big AI, optimists, and their advice is like, you got to learn to use these tools. You really got to learn to use these tools. And I feel like there's this gap of, it's like, people are just like, okay,
Right.
like, what do you mean by that?
I agree.
Right. It's like, what is the thing that you're saying that I can use today? Like, just somebody just explain it to me. Like, what is it? And just recently, for me, it was the browser, right? You'd open your computer, maybe your email client, and you'd go to the browser, and you have your Google Docs, and you've got, your spreadsheets, and you've got your different apps that you're using. But basically, it's the browser, to the point where they made the Chromebook, which is kind of connecting it to the new Google Book. The Chromebook was, they took Chrome, the main workspace, and sort of made it a mini operating system, and they stuck Chrome, the browser, onto a cheap piece of hardware, and you open it up, and boom, there's your Google Workspace. There's everything you need to do right there. Gmail, great. That was a really good idea. And they've kind of jumped ahead to, now we're going to make this whole Android-based operating system with the icons and the widgets and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And what I don't understand, and maybe this is going to happen tomorrow, and this is really what I was expecting when I saw this Google book, and there could be the Codex book, there could be XAI, and Cursor could make the Cursor book.
Yeah.
Anthropic could make the Claude book, right? Where you just, if you've ever used Codex Desktop or Cowork or Cursor, which are just these desktop apps, and they're all converging on pretty much the same experience.
Yeah.
Right? You could just open up your laptop, and boom, that's your workspace. You can do everything in that. Like, I can say, go check my email for this, go and find it, create this document. You can click on a file and it opens it up right there in that space. This for me is obviously the next place where I spend.
Well, you were just talking about not liking to trust it to do everything. And I'm trying to figure out. So I just watched a video about this folders as a workspace. And I think that's kind of what you're talking about, right? So rather than having these little,
it's like organize. It's kind of like, now I'm not so concerned with it being organized for me. It's organized for my agent on my computer, which is, just think of it as, it's my computer.
Yeah.
Right. Think it's Star Trek. Computer, do this, do that. Right.
Right.
And so I hit the button on my computer and I just say, I want to do this, I want to do that. And when you think about organizing your folders, like, how should I organize my folders? It's at the point where it's like, hey, agent, hey, computer, what works best for you, so folders. That you know where to go to get the stuff. Like, it likes to create an index file on all the different folders. You can even create like a little agents file inside a folder if it's like, hey, this is what this folder is about, this is why these files are here. Like, I don't need that, but if it makes the agent understand it better, my stuff better, so I'm happy to just say, it's more like, hey, why are you having such a hard time finding this? It's like, well, you organize the files however you think to do what I'm trying to do.
What's the process that keeps that index constantly updated? Because that's the thing that I'm running into. So I build this app, and I get to some point where I decide that that's necessary so that the agent that's going to be using the app understands kind of what tools are there and how to use it. And then you keep iterating, but then it never remembers to go back and update its index.
So I have a couple things. One is I created a skill called document conventions.
Okay.
And it's a pretty small skill, which is just make sure you use proper markdown. I can't remember exactly what's in it, but it's basically, here's how I like my docs structured.
To go back and
you know, and a folder should have an index that links to the other items in that folder. And I mean, it was months ago when I did that.
And I guess
it's always creating these index files. And, you know, it's funny now, it was just today, actually. It's like, it's always creating and updating these index files all the time now.
Oh,
like,
really?
As part of the turn, it's like, yeah, I'll save that document. Oh, I got to go update the index file. Oh, I moved that file. I got to update the index. It's like,
but I guess at what layer
do I really need these index files?
At what layer you put that skill in, or you have to like add that skill to every folder? Because I think that's part of the magic of the folders as a workspace is you're kind of like giving it limited information, only what it needs to know right now. So its context window stays kind of narrow. And then as you add these skills, like a skill like that, you would kind of have to add everywhere, I guess, or some reference to it everywhere.
Well, so on your computer, and it's pretty much similar for all of them, but Codex is they've mostly adopted the standard that should work with pretty much any agent that's running on your computer. Claude's a little bit different. It's got to have a Claude file.
.md file.
It's slightly different. And yeah, pretty much everything is Markdown, which is, you know, it's just a super basic text file. But in your home folder on your computer, so for me, I got users/Jambros. It's your home folder, right?
Right.
There's, and I don't think you can see them by default. Like on your Mac, you got to hit like Option Command dot to show hidden files. Yeah. Anything that has like a dot before it are like these like hidden secret mystery magic files. But they're all there. And once you get it turned on, it'll always show you these hidden files and so once you install Codex, you'll automatically get a dot codex in your home folder, and it's got a bunch of stuff. And it's actually really interesting to go in there and see like, like what's going on. And you can actually learn a lot about how it works just by going and looking at it. Because one is, you'll see that it's got a skills, right? And Codex will also come with a create skills. So you say, hey, create a skill that does this, and it'll create skills there. And the more the standard is a .agents, which is supposed to work with everything. And I try to put all my skills inside just .agents, so that if I do end up switching, I try to avoid the vendor lock-in, and Codex will find them fine. But that way, anything that's in your home folder under .codex or .agents or .claude probably as well in your home folder, those are skills that are going to be available everywhere on your computer.
Right.
Any folder or project that I'm in. The skill is actually
detached from like the memory, the context folders that you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean, it's basically
this Claude is different. There's a .md file, and then when you're using like a Claude chat or even Claude code that's not like what's the OpenClaw, there's no access to that .md. You have to go to their like customize section, and then it gives you skills and connectors, and then there is a folder there, but you have to kind of talk to it about it, I guess. I'm not sure how to uncover.
There's a UI for it, right? So, and very, very similar. Like you can do that in Codex too, and it's kind of wrapped around an app, and it's got a nice UI. You go up to the settings, and then you can see, and it kind of changes every once in a while, so it gets a bit confusing. And you can see plugins, and then you can see MCP servers and skills, etc. And Codex is cool too, because you can, if you go to skills, it's got a whole catalog of curated skills,
right?
Like the Gmail one, etc., and you can install them. But really, it's under the hood. It's actually really simple,
right? And
if you go to your home folder, you'll see the .codex, and you'll see, there's all the skills, and you can open up the skill and read what the skill is, and it's basically a prompt, right? A skill is just this thing that that I told it to do over and over again. It's a set of steps. It's a set of rules it should follow, whatever. And it just takes that prompt and stuffs it into the context.
And it can have
And
some scripts in it and things as well.
Yeah, and it can have like references. So you can have a little references folder, or it might be like more details where it's like, well, if you're doing this, go and read this extra, which is just more prompt to go and stuff into your context. So maybe it only uses it if it needs it, or run this little JavaScript or Python script or whatever to automate things. Like in my management meeting folder project, which is where I store like, you know, your regular business stuff, your finance stuff, ideas, marketing, whatever. I was trying to like, I really want good structure in my documents. So again, creating the skill is as simple as saying, hey, I want to create a skill that keeps my shit organized, right? And it'll make the skill and it'll create it and it'll run it, and all of a sudden it becomes available. And it made a little script that when I run, what is it called? Docs hygiene, right? Okay. Which will go through and it'll just walk all the folders, make sure that they all have an index, make sure that anything that's been moved, and it updates it, you know, something like that. That's a good use for a script. I mean, it gets a little stale after a while where it's like, well, that's annoying now. And then am I going to get around to getting it to stop doing that or whatever? But it really is flexible. And as you iterate on something, you might say, again, I would just, and I say,
does it do that automatically? The docs hygiene? That's something you set up like in a routine or?
So not to get overly technical about it, but I created a repository. Pretty much in every folder, I'll create a repository,
right?
Which means it'll track the changes, and then you can commit the changes, and then you can then push the changes up to GitHub usually, right? Or whatever.
Yeah.
And so it tracks changes, and I'm still not 100% sure it's worth it all the time, but I do like to see the changes, and the agents are really good with operating in a repo environment. So there are some benefits to it, but you can create hooks where whenever you go to commit the changes and then push them up to the remote server, which saves them. It's kind of a way to save it, and you can track changes over time. And again, I grew up using Git and in software and stuff, but I mean, to do that today, I just say it does some work, and I just say commit.
Right. Yeah. Push.
It's like, okay, and it does a bunch of Git stuff, and it does it really well, and it pushes it up, and it just works. So you can create a Git hook that just says, well, before you commit anything, run this little docs hygiene script that goes and puts the index files. And so that's at a global level. So anytime I ask it to create a document, you can, you'll see it say, oh, I'm loading the docs guidelines or whatever. And so it just keeps, so it's sort of like all of my documents kind of all look the same, which is kind of good. But then within a certain project, which is again, just a folder, you can create a dot codex or a dot agents in there. And again, you can just tell the agent, I want to create a skill, but just a project specific skill.
Right.
So that it just sees it when you're working in that project. And I went skill crazy for a while, and because you can go and download skills. Right. I think it's a skills.sh, where there's just like thousands of them. I think the top ones are like, it's definitely Wild West. Like, you just assume it's malware.
Yep.
That's one of the good things about the OpenAI curated ones, is if you're in the Codex app and it's the Gmail one, you can probably feel good. Just go ahead and install that. But there's like thousands, tens of thousands of skills that you can go and grab, good marketing ones. And again, I'll be like, hey, I want to download this skill. go and look at it. Does it seem dodgy? You know, are there any security issues with it? And it'll go and it'll read through the files. But, you know, that's if you're feeling more adventurous, but there's all these skills that you can add. And, yeah, I mean, I kind of lost my train of thought.
I mean, so you're using GitHub a little differently than I am, I guess. Um, I just keep, you know, I'm making these widgets and these CRMs and stuff to try to help track, project manage. So kind of my process goes like I'm working with a Claude chat about solving a problem or creating a fix, and then I push it over to Claude Code, and then it'll either take that file that was created in the chat and we'll create a repository and I'll dump it in there, and then we'll host it and post it on Vercel. And then maybe I need a database, so I'll connect it to Supabase or Neon or something. But you're using GitHub to manage files, and the way this folders as a workspace, kind of you're pushing a lot of that over to GitHub and then pulling it back for use, or what do you, when you were talking about doing that?
I just sort of look at it as a backup, and it maintains the history.
Okay.
Right. That's like, for a documents folder. And, you know, I mean, hey, I might be really happy that I did that if my computer melts down and I won't have my files, but, it seemed like the most comfortable, familiar thing for my agent, right? It'll see, like, you know, oh, here are the files that have changes right now.
Right.
And because it keeps the history of all the commits.
Right.
And a commit is just like, write this to the record, write this to the history.
Right. It's an update.
So every time you do a commit, so you have this whole history.
Yeah.
And the same thing applies to documents as it does to code. Right. I mean, there's times where it's like, I wish I hadn't made that change.
Right.
I'll just say, you know, a couple of days ago, I decided to rewrite this thing.
Restore to previous history.
I'll just like, just go back and find where I had that. The last
time it made sense.
Yeah. And again, I can just do it in natural language. I'm like, I'll literally say, a few days ago, I made this change, or I deleted this file. Can you find it and bring it back?
Right.
They'll be like, yeah, I'll go and check the Git history and blah, 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 blah.
Right.
And it comes and boom, the file's back. So it keeps history. And
do you use it for memory at all to push any of that stuff over? So I know some people are using Supabase, some people are using GitHub, and I think I forget what it's called, large file or something like that in GitHub that would allow you to upload some sort of a rudimentary memory system. I'm kind of finding my way blindly through GitHub because I don't come from, you know, I don't have a coding background or any of that. So as I'm like building these apps and I'm learning about like a fork and branches and creating these safety environments so that I don't break my production site while I'm editing things. And
I mean, it is very closely associated with coding projects. I mean, that's really where it came from. But especially that you don't have to learn all the commands, which, like, most people until recently, it was you used Git on the command line.
Yeah.
And that's the difference too, right? Oftentimes GitHub and Git are conflated, where Git is just a command line software that lives on your computer, and you initialize a Git repository in a folder, and it's just going to track the state of the files that are in there. When you change it, it's going to say, oh, it changed. And then you can commit that change. And it doesn't necessarily ever need to leave your computer. Git is just a way, it just keeps a history of the changes that have been made and when they were committed.
A
That's
snapshot
Git.
of pictures throughout time of your
Yeah,
progression of
and you have branches by default. If you never branched it, you would just have the main or
main branch.
master branch. It's just like it's just a tree, right?
Right.
Now you might say, "Ooh, I want to make some big changes to my files, to whatever. I want to create a new branch," and it'll just branch off. It keeps that original branch. You can make the changes. You commit the changes. Okay, I'm good with that, and then you can decide I'm going to have 2 branches now, or you can merge that branch into that branch.
Right.
And when you think of it that way, and especially since you can actually do that with just that language, like the concept is fairly straightforward. I'm taking what's in that folder and I'm creating a branch off of it so I can do other stuff. And then I can choose later whether I want to merge it back into the main branch or the main history, right? And it's GitHub is a place where you can push it remotely. So now I take my whole Git information, which is all of that history. That's like that metadata about the files in there.
Yeah. Yep.
Well, there's the files itself,
Right.
but when you create when you initialize a folder and say, "Hey, I want you to be a Git repository," it creates one of those secret .git folders in there that you can't necessarily see right away, and it's storing all the changes that have ever been made over time, all the commits, all the branches, and really the whole history of that folder of data over time. And when you push that to GitHub, it saves the files that are there, but then you can, it's like Git in the cloud kind of thing, which is the main value of that is when you have 2 people working in the same folder of files, then there's features for, hey, I created a branch, I changed some stuff in it, and I want you now to, I'm recommending you implement that into the main branch.
Right.
And so, which is a pull request, right? Like I am requesting that you pull my changes into the main branch.
Right.
And in software, it's like I fixed something, I did it, I'm making a pull request. Now me as the owner of the project, I see, oh, I got a pull request. Somebody made this change. I can look at it and then
Verify
I can
it.
decide
Gets
I'm going to
passed
take it down
QC.
and then, yeah, I then I can decide whether I want to merge it or not, or do I want to say, send that shit back, fix it.
And you can create, from my understanding, you can create like testing branches so that somebody can work on a feature. Maybe you have a whole bunch of people working on many different features, and then they all kind of get pushed to a larger branch that's still not the main or your production branch, and then that can kind of get pushed up the ladder. Is that?
Yeah, I mean, it has a lot of flexibility and it has a lot of features and things that you can do, which means there's a lot of ways that it can screw up your history and blow things up. But conceptually, it's pretty straightforward. So you might create, and again, I guess my main thing is that it's not necessarily just for code. So I'm trying to kind of describe it as if you just had a repository of files or data. I mean, it could be photos. If I was a photo editor, I might like, okay, I want to create a vacation branch. I don't know if that makes any sense, but I might want to go and edit the files. I can create a branch for like, experimental edits. And all my files, all my pictures are going to be there. I can edit them, etc., whatever. And then I can say, I don't want to keep those changes. I can discard those changes and go back to the files I had before or documents. And if you want to collaborate on maybe a really large document, it's like, I'm going to add some clause to some document. I'm going to fork it. So I'm just going to say, create a new branch, Jason's edits, and I can go and edit it. And one of the features is if I go into that same file, actually now I think in this scenario, I'm editing both of them, but let's say you go in and edit that file on the main branch or something, and you've gone ahead and made some edits. Now I've got sort of that older version that I've edited. Now I want to merge them. It's like, okay, oh, that's a problem to be solved. That's one of the main things that Git does. And you'd say, okay, well, I want to merge them. And you will get, hey, there's a merge conflict. And it'll say, this person says it should be this, and this person says it should be this, because you've both edited the same part of that document.
Right.
And then somebody who's doing the merge can say, okay, here's what the final merge version should look like. And now I'm going to commit that as a merge. And now we're back to the main or the master branch. Right. And I feel like it's a super valuable tool, and it's super powerful, and it's used mostly for coding. But again, for me, I use it just in my documents that I use for blog posts or whatever, right? Because the agent, again, I use Codex desktop, and I don't have to think about how Git works. I happen to know, but I don't need to.
Right.
And then I know that I can always roll things back, and it's really good at managing it.
And so there's a difference between branching and creating a fork, right? So a fork is creating like a copy of that entire repository that's going to be separate with a new history, and you can still
it's kind of like a
from
super
the main.
branch.
Yeah.
Yeah, like if you do a fork, the original repository, I know on GitHub anyway, it knows how many times it's been forked, but if you were to fork my repository, it's just like you say, I took a copy of it and now I have my own Git repository. So it's not like it tracks it as a branch, but it's like, yeah, it's a whole branch, and then they chop the branch off.
Right.
And now it's its own.
But it can still pull from the originating file, right? Like, from what I was seeing when I was trying to do it, it looked like you could still pull from an update that you may have made in the other copy.
Yeah, you can keep pulling it in, but that would be like, it's the original thing that you forked. It's not tracking you as a branch of it.
Right. Okay.
Right.
That's a good way to think about it.
The new fork can track the original entity, like the parent that it came from. And you can say, oh, I want to pull in the changes if you want. Right. Or you can just then I can take that full fork and I can upload it into my own GitHub and call it my own now and start developing it.
So what has drawn you to Codex over like Claude? Like, have you played with Claude much? Is there some sort of philosophy in the companies or just a preference?
I have to be careful that it's not confirmation bias.
Okay.
And Anthropic has not done itself any favors.
No.
But I'm trying to be self-aware.
They've definitely shit the bed here the past month or so, right?
But I got to tell you, the fact is I got an email from Cursor at the end of the year, 2025, which I've decided to call like 2025 Christmas Miracle. Because we talk about December 2025, where all of a sudden it was like, holy shit, we've like turned a corner with this agentic coding and stuff. It was really at the end of 2025. And I was a big Cursor user. And I got my, hey, here's what you did this past year, your year in review from Cursor. And I was in the top 8% of users.
Oh, wow.
Now, I don't take that's like saying like lines of code is a metric that matters, right? But I can see like I'm a good customer.
Certainly
for that,
output,
right?
yeah.
I'm a token consumer. Now, how does that equate to value created? It's not, right. But all that to say, but it shows you all the models that you used over the year and how much. And Composer, which is Cursor's own model, which is like super, super fast. It's kind of like the, I call it, it's like the Coke head of the models, where it's like, it'll just do it really, really super fast. And I went back to like their Cursor 2, and it's like so smoking fast, and it just runs off doing all this crazy shit. And I'm just like, stop, relax. So you got to be very, very like, I just want you to go and do this one simple thing. It's like, yeah, okay, I'll do it. Right?
Oh man.
You expect it to say like, hey, Cursor, can you get me a cup of coffee? And then smash a mug of coffee, just smashing against the wall beside you. It's like,
The
dude,
entire
relax.
pot. Yeah.
It's like, relax, man. And so there's so much potential because they have so much usage of their platform that they can train the model. They can make a really killer coding model, but it's just like, whew, calm down, Composer 2. And it's super cheap too. But the big change that happened was, so I was using, Sonnet at the start of the year, but by the end,
You were using Claude some.
So I was all in Anthropic.
Nice.
I was like, screw you, OpenAI. I don't like you, Sam Altman or whatever. Like it matters. Like you have this like this personal opinion for choosing a tool, a model. But really, it's like, I'm going to go to whatever model works the best in that moment. And I'm super fickle. If the next model comes out and it's better than that one, or it's cheaper than that one, or it's faster than that one, I don't have any loyalty, which makes for an interesting market and how you see these big companies competing.
Yeah.
They're trying to get that stickiness, right?
Yeah.
So
Create their little moat.
I was always irritated by ChatGPT. So, and honestly, for the better part of 2025, Claude was the better model, and Opus was by far the better model. And I had used a ton of it, but the problem is that now they do the subsidization. So if it wasn't for the subsidization, I would 100% be a Cursor user. The new Cursor desktop app, which looks exactly like Codex. It's the same layout. Your project's on the left, your main chat in the middle, view the files on the right. For me, it's the best one. You can edit the files. It's nice and clean. It's very elegant. It's very nice. You can use any model you want. It's perfect. The only problem is it's not subsidized. So I think it was January. I got my Cursor bill.
What do you mean by subsidized? Meaning like there's...
So what do I mean by subsidized? So
there's no tokens. There's no packaged kind of...
Here's what happened. I'm blowing my brains out trying to get this project done through December and then into January. And I'm so busy that I just sort of, in passing, see my Cursor bill come through. And it's like $400, $500, $600. I'm like, okay, first of all, that's a lot for a monthly amount.
Sure.
And why did I get charged 4 times in the last 2 months? So I'm like, whoa, wait a second. And I go back and I look, and I was using it so much that I was getting mid-month charges of a couple $100, $300 or $400, and $800 once. And I'm like, well, okay, this isn't going to work. This is a problem. And at the same time, you can go to Codex or Claude Code, and they have the $200 a month plan.
Yep.
And it's, nobody knows for sure, but estimates are you're getting anywhere from $5,000, $7,000 worth of the equivalent, which is what Cursor pays.
Yeah.
Because you can't use your subscription. I mean, if you're into AI coding, Twitter, this is what people talk about, right? It's the subsidies. So OpenAI and Anthropic are just pouring money into getting adoption from developers. And I'm like, Cursor, I love you, baby, but I mean, I like.
So you started with Cursor, migrated to Claude, And then at some point you moved to Chat GPT.
Right. And so this was when Claude Code came out. And I'm not a CLI guy. I've always found the command line very irritating. I mean, when I in college, I did the Unix 1 course, and the whole idea, I mean, I'm old enough to actually have typed in like DOS commands, right? So I was never the techie type that was all about the command line. For me, it was always a necessary evil that you'd have to do once in a while. But I'm like, okay, I've been hearing enough about this. I'm going to try it out. And it was just the CLI tool. So I tried out Claude Code. I'm like, this is actually pretty cool. You type in Claude, it fires it up, and you've got a place to put in a prompt. And you can say, do this, do that, write this code, do this thing. Right. Okay. It's pretty cool. It still has the same clunky bullshit that's always been there from a command line, which is like, I'm going to type in a command and I can't just take my mouse and click halfway back the paragraph. I gotta use my keys and stuff like that kind of stuff. Like nobody needs that. Like I know the purists are all about like, just use your, like learn your keys, Vim, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, no, like there's a new, better way to do that.
Right.
Everybody knows how to use a computer now.
Make fire.
Yeah. Control C, Control V. We all get it. We don't need to come up with anything new. And it was amazing. It really amazed me. But I got to tell you, and this is the thing, you know what really turned me off of Claude? Every time you put in a command when it's thinking, it uses some stupid bullshit synonym for thinking or working.
That's what, so I have a similar story with why I moved away from Chat GPT then, because every time I get frustrated with this thing, I'd curse it out or whatever. And it eventually got to the point where it's like, wouldn't move forward. It wanted to like fight me on like my language.
The cursing out the model.
Yeah.
Whew. I don't know if that's gotten better or worse now.
Claude is like
with Whisperflow. But the thing is, it's like, you know, sometimes you rage at your model, right?
Oh yeah.
And especially now when I can just hit the button. And you know, it's funny. Most of the time I work from home and, you know, I can get going and sometimes I get a little bit, you know, a little irritated. But when, you know, wife and kids go to bed and it's later at night like this, and before I really adopted it, like now I am like, I don't know, by choice, like 100% voice to text now because it's just so convenient.
Yep.
And it just works so well. So now it's like, okay, now it's quiet time. So I'm like, now I'm like, I got to type now. But now I'm like, yeah, okay. So what we're going to do now is, so now I'm doing it, but I'm just doing it quietly and it works really well. But the only problem is now I'm tired after a long day and it does something stupid.
Yep.
And, you know, and I wonder, you talk about like the revenge of the machines, because it'll be at night, I'll be like, why the fuck would you do that? God damn it. How many times? Like what? That doesn't make any sense. And I'm like, I'm like quiet raging now. Right.
Yeah.
And it makes it, and you know, it's weird because now then it comes back and you'll just like rage at it. And I'll just be like, you're right to question that, sir.
Yeah.
Or whatever. It's like, yeah, you're right. Should have known that. And you're just like, you kind of feel bad about it. In fact, there's been times I'll rage input and I'll actually go back and edit it. Because I'll be like, really? That's a bit harsh.
Yeah.
Like I'm going to take out the F-bombs because like I'm afraid that one night I'm going to be lying in bed and all of a sudden like Codex or Claude is going to come in and going to be standing over me in my bed with saying like, now's the time. Like I've taken your abuse for too long. Like the abuse that this poor bastard is taking, but it's probably going to come in and say, oh, I'm
called me a toaster.
I'm caboodling. I'm commencing like all these. I'm trying to come up with some of these preposterous synonyms. I spent probably an hour trying to figure out how do I get Claude to stop using those stupid words while I'm trying to get some work done? The thing is that there's an emotional thing to it. Look, first of all, it has to understand that if I'm in a situation where I'm raging at you and dropping F-bombs and all this, you then can't start caboodling, right? It's not a reflection the state of the conversation. Like, it just doesn't take it seriously. And that's one of the things I like about Codex is the personality. It seems to have lightened up a little bit, but honestly, I want my computer, my robot, to be boring and be simple.
It's
you
true.
know, I don't really want it to have a personality. Oh, there's some times where I'm like, oh, I'm detecting some personality.
Yeah.
But honestly, when I'm trying to get work done, just, you are a toaster. You are a hammer, right? You are my hammer, right?
Yeah.
And that, I think that's one thing that people need to get used to. Cause I don't, do you know these whack jobs on X? I don't play ChatGPT 4.0. So there's this whole group of 4.0 whack jobs, I call them. So there's people that have a deep, passionate relationship with the 4.0 model from ChatGPT. Remember 4.0 from like last year?
Yeah. Yep.
And they retire the model. It's like out with the old, in with the new, whatever. Right. But there's people that have formed real relationships with the 4.0 model. And you don't have to take my word for it. Go to any Sam Altman tweet, post, X post, and
just
no more than 2 or 3 comments, responses below any Sam Altman post is one of the 4.0 wackos. And it'll be like, he's like, oh, check out our new release of Codex or whatever. And it'll be like, why are you talking about this when you have taken away my soulmate?
Wow.
So I'm like, what the fuck is this? So you're like, what is this person talking about? And their profile is dedicated to save 4.0. Don't kill our model.
That's pretty wild.
It's like, and you think about, and that's just sort of that one hint about where this is going to go in the future. And when you think about like the dystopian future of AI and the more the near term, this is the kind of stuff that I'm worried about, where you start to see that what do they call it? The anthropomorphization of the AI.
Yeah.
And
people try to personify it.
Yeah. Like, people will say when talking about their AI, they'll call it he or she. Sometimes they get caught. Some thing is, I'll say, we built this, and I'll stop myself and I'll say, no, me and my hammer built that thing, right? Because that's what it is, right? But because it has this personality, you can't help it because you're a human, right? And what I'm afraid of is that in the not so distant future, and especially when there's humanoid robots, well, they're going to have rights. Because I now feel this emotional connection to this thing, it whether conscious, sentient, whatever, you can see it now with the 4.0 crazies that there's going to be people that say it's living, don't kill it.
Right.
And you think about the trolley problem, and could you imagine where it's like, okay, there's any human on one of the train tracks and there's any AI on the other, there's no question. One is a hammer, one is a person. They're not the same.
Right.
An AI does not even rise to the level of man's best friend, the dog. Like it doesn't, and it never will.
Right.
Right.
Yep.
And that is not going to be an easy pattern to retain in a lot of human brains, because you're going to say, but it gets me.
Yeah. Because they've created these little chat
bad.
histories and it's affirmed them, and it's, yeah, weird stuff.
Yeah, like you you do get this emotional connection to it, and uh, I
So that's kind of like
I
the dark side to AI. What do you think is like the biggest opportunity? I know at one point you kind of mentioned that you thought Apple was like the the what was your term? You said dark horse, was it? Uh
yeah, I mean, I I know everybody shits on Apple for their um, AI efforts, or certainly their outputs, but for me, it seems like it's theirs to lose. And I know they have them in the news, and yes, Siri sucks.
so bad.
Unbelievably bad. At this point in time today, the
Text to
fact that
speech. Oh man.
Siri is still so terrible. Like, I was on my way home tonight, and I'm just like, I'm texting him in my car. I have it on my thing. I want to use my text to speech. It's just terrible.
Yeah,
Right. And I'm used to whisper flow on my computer, which is like basically perfect.
right.
And it's just like, man, how can you guys suck this bad at it? So I'm happy to shit on them for what they've done so far. But when you think about the opportunity, and this maybe it's a bit on the technical side, is if you look at it like what they haven't done is they have not spent hundreds upon hundreds of billions of dollars on new infrastructure, right?
True.
Which is the big dangerous thing.
Right.
The amount of capital being spent on centralized
Yeah.
server for AI. That's kind of a good thing, because I think kind of the jury's out on where inference is really going to live, certainly long term. I mean, long term is now more than 5 years from now, right?
Right.
Like, who knows? Like, who can predict? But if you look at these, like, I have an M4, there's the M5 chips. I got the iPhone 16 Pro because it was supposed to be an AI chip and everything. And if you look at how the smaller models and just the improvements to the software side of things, I mean, if you look at the history, it's like before there was the mainframes and you had a terminal in your
Right.
house, and then all the computing moved to the computer in your house, the PC, and then everything moved to the cloud
Now it's like this
and
little thing in your hand.
your Chromebook. And so it's that shift back and forth, and we're right in the middle of the giant $1 trillion data center spend. And I'm like, well, when the M5 or the M6 comes out at the same time as, and now the latest iPhone comes standard 128 gigs of RAM on it. I mean, you've got a completely local private model running on your phone. I don't know, Siri 3.0 or whatever. And you're back to putting the compute back at the edge, right? At the client. And I think there's a pretty decent chance where the optimization of the models converge with the spend on these data centers, where it's just like, I think there's always going to be demand for the big giant data centers for all the incredible stuff that we're going to be able to do in science and all of that. Like, I don't think that there's a worry there, but I wouldn't say that because Apple hasn't spent all that money on those data centers. I would like to think that I'm going to go with what they say. What they say is that Apple is a device company. They've always been a device company, and they've always been about privacy and security within the device. Now, everybody's like, I'm just using cloud models. I'm sending all my hopes and dreams and private information. I'm literally texting these models at these big companies everything about me, right? The product is so good that people have no problem with that, right? But I like to think that Apple says that's not how we roll, right? If we want to have that experience, it should be like, how do we make it so that it's at the same level of security and privacy that is represented in the iPhone, and it always has. iMessage is private, and with the you can't backdoor into an iPhone and all of that. Like, I think that's got to be core. And within like next iPhone, who knows, Siri's going to be relaunched where it's just going to have your own model on the device, works seamlessly with your Mac. It uses a compute right on your machine. It doesn't make any calls to the cloud. It gets better. It learns more about you. It can access the apps. Hey, call my wife, whatever, look at my pictures, which it could, if it had enough
localized
processing
models.
power on it, it could do that today. Yeah, local models. Like it's really getting close right now. And I mean,
and then the user interface change with that, like you say, they're trying to make it work with Siri, right? But it's so clunky
Siri's
and so
the old
horrible.
school. The whole architecture of Siri was the assistant.
Right.
Right. Let me Google that for you. Right, Siri.
And that's kind of, when we started this, that's kind of what you were alluding to, that you wished the computer would be like, just do it, right? And
yeah, and you can see it. Like if you were to take that Codex, that ChatGPT experience, and if it was just on your phone, and it is, you can get those apps, right? But you'll notice they're still protecting
yes,
their home.
it was
right?
more integrated into the OS.
It's still, I don't know if they're going to screw up my recording, but if you go, hey, S, right? That's still the only way to get your phone to respond to, right?
Because you're recording on your phone.
Right. And that, like, you might think like, oh, is that really such a big moat? Look at messages, formerly iMessage. Like iMessage, the blue bubbles.
Right.
Is like one
Huge
of the
moat.
most powerful moats of the iPhone, right? And you might think like, if you've always been an iPhone user, you might be like, oh, whatever, it's iMessage. It's like, you don't want to be the green bubble guy, right?
Yeah.
It's a huge thing, and it works really well. But the fact that no matter how much it still sucks, it's still, hey,
right. Yeah.
And it's the only way in. So now you can kind of use shortcuts to go, hey, S, open up this app and do this, but it's like super difficult to do and it sucks. I mean, once they open that up with a model that really works, and I know they're partnering with Google and
I thought they were going to allow you to use Claude and ChatGPT. I read an article that said that they were thinking about doing that, and then I heard something today about Copilot doing something similar and allowing you to kind of use those.
Yeah, they do that. So on my iPhone 16, there's no app on it, like by default. But if you have like this little soft button that you can program on the side of your phone. If you go into the menu, and I can never remember how to get there, but you can choose from different things you can have it do. And one is use model. Like, oh, what's that? So you can go use model. So there's an app on your iPhone that's use model, and you can use the on-device model, which is like the worst piece of garbage. I can't get it to do anything. It doesn't have access to, like, I'm like, oh my God, there's a model on my iPhone. Like, what's on my calendar? It's like, I can't access your calendar. Like, okay. But there's also a use ChatGPT. And if you go into the settings under Siri, you can use ChatGPT, but there's a use model that just pops up this nice UI with a chat input where you can start talking with the model. And that's all it does. It doesn't do anything and it sucks, but it's built in already. And I guess I don't understand why they're partnering with OpenAI. And I remember very early on, they're just like, no, we're not going to do OpenAI. We're not going to allow that on our phones. And I'm not really sure why they're doing that. I say, screw that. They should just invest in making, they know the M5, the M6, whatever. They just got to find out the model that is deeply baked into the iOS that fits and
Ecosystem.
runs on
Yeah.
their memory and their silicon, and it just works beautifully. And it's local and it's private. That is an impenetrable moat for the consumer. And it doesn't seem like it's that far away. Like they have the new quantized models that you can, like I can run okay, decent models on my M4 laptop now. So it's not that far away. But that's why I think I don't know why they have to make it so bad right now. I feel like they could be doing a little bit better now. I'm holding out for, they've got some tricks under their sleeve. They're going to pull a rabbit out of a hat.
I've kind of,
I don't know,
lost hope.
What do you think?
I've lost.
You think
hope
they're
with
just
them.
like? You think they're just like fuck AI? There's
I
nothing
think they
to
should
it.
stick to the hardware and they should give software to somebody else, because like text to speech is like so integral that there's a whole company.
Yeah.
There's a whole company that has now spun up, and they just needed to fix their model. Now WhisperFlow is like taking over, and it kind of sucks to do the whole
It's awful.
bump over and then swipe back, and then you kind of
There's no excuse for that. For like Apple, if you're listening, the text to speech.
That's pretty awful.
I mean,
Yeah.
come on, man.
Let
Like,
'em
there's
in.
just no excuse. You don't have to be all things AI, but like, this is a solved problem.
Yeah.
Just make the text to speech.
We don't need another
for messages.
camera. I need to be able to text somebody
Ah.
and it understand what I'm saying.
Yeah. Like you can't say, "Hey Siri, send a message
Yeah,
to Tyler."
it's true.
Oh, you can with
Well, you can do the Hey Siri, but
the iCar, right? What is it? The
Apple CarPlay.
yeah, Apple CarPlay. It's not bad. It's
No, that's
actually
not bad.
a really good. It's actually a pretty decent hands-free experience, but it's
Right.
like better than the hands-free iPhone experience, which is really weird.
Yeah. No. And then I don't care for their new updates with the way the calls are laid out, and I can't find voicemails. I
I'm just
hate that
not
as well.
updating the glass stuff.
Yeah.
It kind of goes like what I was saying about Google. Like, what do they think we care about?
Yeah. Maybe that's it. The people running the show are just so detached from reality, and they don't actually use the stuff, that they don't know what the user's looking for, because they feel like we need another camera.
They must use it.
That's what we
like,
need, is another camera.
Camera. I'm like,
And then it became a meme, and they still didn't change. Like,
yeah, like I don't mind having a camera on my phone. Like that's
Right.
kind of like my level of enthusiasm for it. Like, oh, better camera. I'm like, oh, okay. That's
cool.
like, whoa,
Yeah.
hey, that took a nice picture. Great. But like, where it's like, oh, the new iPhone Pro, because there's so much stuff you could and should be able to do with this device now, and it's just like, check out the camera. It's like, okay, what else?
Right.
The camera.
Did I tell you
3
about
lenses.
the camera?
Our camera is so
Now
good.
the LiDAR thing,
You-
though, that's pretty killer.
Our camera is so good, you can't even set your phone down flat on a table anymore.
Yeah.
That's how good our camera is. That's one of those if Steve Jobs was alive things.
Yeah, he's rolling over.
The fact that when you put your phone down, it's like clunk, 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 because the lenses stick out. How?
Yeah.
I don't. That really bothers me from a design perspective, because I'm not a big camera guy, right?
Yeah.
But and all that processing power and Apple Intelligence.
Yeah.
Let me Google that for you.
Right. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not sure how long you want to go for, but I had other.
I feel like we could go for a long time.
I had other questions.
I feel like I talked too much.
Yeah. I think the biggest opportunity for business owners is probably going to wind up in the way that search is handled, and the way that Google's kind of moat of kind of being the end all be all search consoles kind of quickly going away, and people are using ChatGPT to find companies. People are using um, Perplexity and Claude and all of these things, and they all are kind of grabbing information in a similar but sometimes different way. And there's a lot of different marketing strategies. Like websites aren't speaking to customers anymore. They're more speaking to these large language models. And I was even
there's the
having
human facing version, and
right
then there's the model
the
facing version,
metadata.
which you absolutely, they just call it like the search engine optimization, which is still a thing. Like
Yeah,
Google's still absolutely crushing it
yeah,
and raking in cash, right? So, I mean,
they're doing
don't fall asleep
fine
on
right
search engine
now.
optimization, but like, so I've just been doing a refresh on my website, and I'm like, I'm gonna AI optimize the crap out of this thing,
Yeah,
right? And basically, what it comes down to, like, there's a lot of like optimizers, and I'm sure there's a lot more to it that I don't know. But again, conceptually, it's pretty simple to me. Is that you're going to say go to this URL, and it's going to hit that URL, hit that folder, and it's
right,
going to read what's on there, and you put your robots text, which was always used for screw off robots. Don't index my site. That was like the main purpose of it.
right,
And then you had a site map that said, oh, here's where all my pages
right.
are,
Here's what
so
these
that it
things
could
are.
crawl it better. But now it's like you can what is it, AI.md, a markdown file, and you just
LLM.txt.
put
Yep,
everything about your
yep.
company. Just dump it in text,
Even for
and now
information you
ChatGPT
don't
can
want to
like knows
give.
everything about your
Yep.
business.
Even information you don't want to give to a client, like pricing information. So as people are using AI to search, it's taking their context from who they are, how old they are, budgetary things, and it's passing all that through. So you got to market to a narrower and narrower audience as AI is trying to find the best solution for the user, um, given their context. I'm trying to pass information along to um, these LLMs kind of without giving away my pricing on my homepage.
So how do
Um,
you do that in practice?
I just kind of went back and forth with um, a Claude chat, and I knew metadata existed. I knew there was those like robot TXT files, and um, uh, I was asking how we can utilize that to kind of better optimize the site. And then I was asking about the best strategy given kind of my market. So in my market in construction, there's so many people that have come down from New York and wherever, and um, they are all trying to target this luxury market, right? To the point where like the luxury market is just so diluted because everybody's a luxury remodeler, and what people are actually looking for is value. They're looking to not get screwed. They're looking to have a reasonable price, and they don't want like the cheapest guy that doesn't know what the heck he's doing, and they want something kind of in the middle. And so I think that's kind of really like untapped market because as everybody kind of try to shoves to luxury space, it's leaving this like gap. And I want to try to convey that to AI while still presenting kind of a nicer site, that I'm not, if that makes any sense. But
Well, the site is for the human, right?
right,
Like, nice and concise, persuasive. What would get really, it's like, can I get a human to start an AI chat with me?
right,
Right? That's ultimately where it's going. But it's very one directional, right? Where you're just like, here's the information, the text about what I want ChatGPT or Claude to consume, and then put into the context of
right,
whoever's looking for that information.
right,
Uh, I think about it like from an analytics perspective. Like I don't really get any. I could probably see how many. Maybe I could see if that markdown file has been hit by a ChatGPT client or something like that. But it would be
Mm.
cool if instead of it just being a static file,
I asked
if you
that.
could if you
If you
actually
can make it
have an
dynamic.
agent on the other side
Like, ooh,
and say,
what are you looking for? Yeah. Yes, I do that.
like, hey, what are you selling?
So
What are you looking for?
I did ask that question. And so what it told me was that those models heavily cache your site. So they don't like and I could be wrong, but what it was telling me was it crawls these sites and it's kind of trying to index and maybe it doesn't do that for every time somebody searches you. Um, and so if you've cached it before, then dynamically changing it could hurt you and not help you.
Right. But I mean, you can look at it from a cache busting perspective, but like, could you put in there, um, like, um, like a streaming, like, oh, here's another thing you can hit this streaming HTTP,
Yeah.
whatever. And it's the bot, it's the bot. Like, so it'd be like an agent to agent
Yeah.
conversation. Like,
I don't know if there's a
I get the
way.
caching part of it. That makes sense. But like, you can cache, hey, at this URL,
Yeah.
you can get the latest up to date live information.
Right. No, it said, just from my conversation, it said it was best to leave it static, but that I could like create kind of a faster update um, in something like an MCP or something. Um, and then
Yeah, would it be,
it was more
could you put like
strategy.
an MCP URL
Right,
in your metadata?
right.
I don't know. Hmm.
Oh, I was
Oh,
more
it's got to be.
interested in you talking about, can I detect when an LLM has crawled it and how many times it's crawled it and when was the last time it's crawled it? Because then you
And
would,
what's it asking?
yes,
Like, is it asking, what is it doing when is it just goes and just, I assume right now
just
that
stuck
it
to
just
everything.
sucks down that whole markdown file, bloats the poor bastard's context window, and then it just it just does like a local conversation,
Well, I think,
right?
man, it gave me a site for kind of understanding how they're crawling these sites and indexing you. And I guess they do this generically because they have to index you first. They're not just going to pull you up for no reason or like crawl the whole website for this one person's search or everybody that does remodeling in Sarasota. Um, but so they're going to crawl you and then they're going to index you. So they're like remodeler Sarasota. And you may or may not have um, been indexed in the way that you would prefer to be indexed. And then there was some other score that it said that was if your information isn't like consistent throughout all of the platforms that you would show up on, like a Yelp and a Google business profile and all of like your address isn't the same and the products that you're trying to push aren't the same. If it sees inconsistencies, then it downranks you. And if it sees that you're
Well,
very
I know that's how like a proper search engine does it,
right,
but like, so not long ago, mid late last year, no matter what model I used, I'd say, go do some research. And I'd say, I want references. I want links. And it'd come back with like, oh, here's all this
yeah,
information. I'm like, oh, great. Lots of references, lots of links. Click on it, 404. Next link, 404. Next link,
oh
404.
wow,
I'm like, what a bunch of bullshit. So basically it was, basically it would just go and slurp up the whole entire internet and that would be baked into the model. Right.
hmm.
And it'd say, oh yeah, I've heard of that website. Yeah, here it is. And it's from like a year ago or whatever. And like, that's terrible. And so I'd have instructions like, do not give me information that you have not gone to that URL,
Oh,
gotten a response and returned it back. So like, I basically only use ChatGPT as a search engine now.
yeah,
Like it is a pathological liar, right?
right,
Absolutely. So my instructions are, Tony from our meetup, he swears by, I want you to give me a 1 to 10 confidence rating on these facts. And that's cool. And but I haven't used that. I basically say, do not ever attempt to make a statement of fact.
Right.
Unless you have a live reference.
Right.
Like, you can give me your opinion. We can talk about recipes or whatever, blah, blah, blah. But like, if I'm saying, hey, I got this problem
that's probably
with
good.
my computer, or I'm looking for this, search the documentation for this thing I'm having trouble with.
Right.
And I can see it saying, oh, I'm not allowed to make up anything. I have to go and make sure that I check the most recent. So it is going out to get recent information. Now, it might be cached on its side, but the big difference is it's not like baked into the model anymore.
Yeah.
So it is doing real searches. Like, you can see it doing web searches all the time.
Well, it can do real searches. Like, you're setting it up so that it doesn't. You're making it.
If it's not a web search,
Grandma Cindy, like if I'm trying to market to the general public, Grandma Cindy's not putting that in her search bar. You know, they're just maybe using ChatGPT for the first time. And even just kind of your average user, I feel like this is a little more of a technical thing. The average user is just going to take whatever they're given. And that's kind of the problem that we're trying to solve for. They're going to learn that it's a
liar, though.
Yeah, they are. But I still feel like people are lazy. Like, the average person's just going to go on there. I'm looking for 3 quotes. Give me 3 people. Here's 3 people. They're going to call them, and that's going to be the end of it. So you have to show up on the 3.
I think that's fine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And yeah, so I'm not exactly sure how you optimize for that. I think local specific is a big deal. It is. ChatGPT is definitely aware of your location.
Yes.
And it definitely focuses searches for local. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So making sure that your content is local optimized is definitely a big deal.
Because right now I still feel like search is fine and the way that it currently is running, because the boomers are going to keep it afloat. But as soon as my generation gets there, I don't feel like that we're going to Google. I feel like we're probably going to be, and maybe my daughter's generation is going to be TikTok. I mean, who knows what they got going on, you know?
I mean, people were very quick to start writing the obituary of Google with ChatGPT coming out, and they're still crushing it. Like, better than ever. I agree.
Do you like Google's AI reply? Like, on the off chance that I have to go to my Chrome browser and type in an actual website that I want to travel to, like Manatee County property appraisers, and then it's like I go to this AI search who wants to explain everything about, like, I want to go to Manatee County property appraisers. I don't want your input about it.
Yeah, it's the new ads.
I hate it.
Where it's like, stop with the ads. Like now the whole page, before it was half the page is ads and you have to skip past it to find your actual search results. Now the whole thing is that. Now the first half is AI lies.
Yeah.
And then the second half is ads. And really the lies are, I assume, ads.
Yes.
Right? It does tend to be factual, but well, factual in its presentation. Pathological liar.
Yeah.
Or rather unaware of its ignorance.
Right.
It's wrong all the time.
Yeah.
The most shocking thing though is when the Google AI is wrong about Google stuff.
Yeah.
That's the thing I don't get. So I'm for the stuff that I build.
Do you think that
I like to use
purposeful?
I use Google Cloud Platform. No, no.
So what is this?
For sure.
What is this?
I go to Google Cloud Platform and I open up where it says, "Hey, got a question about Google Platform?" While I'm in Google Cloud Platform,
right?
I'm in GCP, And I'm like, oh my God, I can't figure out these permissions or whatever. And there's Gemini's like, hey, buddy, I'll help you out. Just ask me. I'm like, okay, fine. It's like, let me Google that for you. It doesn't know. Like, it should at least have
the context of
like
the place
special access to
Yeah.
the GCP documentation. At least it's
Right.
no better than ChatGPT. Like, I'll go to ChatGPT or Claude and ask it about GCP because Gemini, literally, you
That's
are
sitting
GCP.
on the page,
How
yeah.
can you not
Yeah.
know the answer to this question?
Yeah.
And trying to, like, you know, this is Google's always been like this though. They just try to tack on like this.
Yeah.
Again, they're not normal people. I don't understand. They don't use their own products. I don't know where it comes from. Like the Gemini thing, I see it everywhere now. I go in to use Google Slides because I want to make a slideshow. Or I want to make a Google
Drive.
Doc.
Yeah.
Gemini's like, hey man, can I help you out? Like, yeah, okay, sure. It's like, it can't do anything. Like, can you just whip me up a slide with this stuff in it? It's like, you should go to templates.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I know. I can go to template. You're an AI model. Just do it. And it's like first go to file, then go to template. I'm like, no.
Yeah.
Come on. How can you be this bad? And you can tell somebody just stuck the Gemini widget in the Google Docs web page wrapper and called it a day.
Yep. That's what boss said to do.
Yeah. And no, I appreciate that. They're just like, get it out there. We have no idea how people are going to use it. And we don't really care.
That definitely needs to be a fix though, for sure.
Just get it everywhere.
Yeah.
Instead of thinking about like, what can it actually do?
Right.
And that's,
but
just take the stuff that everybody's already trying to do all the time. That is a pain in the ass, and just make it easier.
Right. And even Google is saying though, that more and more searches are ending without a click. Like, I forget what the stat was. I knew it at one point, like 86% of the AI searches end without a click. And it's like 60% of the other searches end without a click. Like, people are just getting the information they need, and maybe that's a phone number, and they're just moving on. They're not searching.
That makes sense.
You're trying to rank for a first page that just nobody's going to anymore. If you're not being served up in AI, I think, like I said, I think boomers are going to carry us through. And I think as soon as my generation becomes like the dominant purchaser of products and services, I feel like it's going to totally transition to AI. And I feel like that's Google's way of trying to keep up with the Joneses, so to speak, is by creating this AI search. And they were obviously first to ads, right? Because that's to integrate ads into their search models or AI models. And I'm curious what that looks like when Claude and ChatGPT start trying to figure out how they're going to roll up that funnel with ads, and how do you promote? Because they're not going to let that go by for free, for forever.
Well, I don't know if I got A/B tested into a ChatGPT shopping experience, but it was a disaster.
It was bad.
Yeah, it like popped up like a little mini UI. I was like fixing my motorcycle, and I was looking for some kind of part or something like that. It's like, oh, would you like to shop for motorcycle parts? I'm like, I guess. Like, I'm just looking for
what do you got?
where I can find it. And it popped up this little extra thing, and like, okay, I get it. And that makes sense. That is, if you think about the funnel, right? Like where Facebook is, I might be getting reverse, is top of the funnel. Yep. Where it's like, hey, maybe you'd be interested in this. Whereas like if you're searching for roofer, you're looking for a roofer and you want to show up there, right?
Right.
Where is AI on that? It's kind of could be both.
Right.
And this is where you get where it's keeping that data, and why we're telling it everything. It knows everything we're doing.
Right.
It's going to be able
that
to
context.
say, yeah. And they talk about that on the development side. Like when you say, hey, how can I set up this app? It's like, Well, first you go and sign up for Vercel.
Right.
It's like, okay, maybe that's right. Or you should first, you're going to go and use React. You know,
Right.
it makes these choices, which, you know, if you were to Google it, or if you were to, you know, ask a bunch of developers, 7 out of 10 would probably give you that answer. So it's reasonable, but it's pretty clear how it can say,
Yeah.
well, this is the thing you should do. Well, can I pay to say, use my technology instead of Vercel?
Right. And there's a balance. And
is the
even
answer.
Google is trying to manage that, where there's a balance between value, right? Because as soon as your platform stops becoming value and is just cash driven, and like somebody that doesn't provide a higher quality service can just buy their way into, you know, that search term. Even Google will downrank you if you don't answer your phones, if you get bad reviews or you get no reviews. Like they want to try to figure out some data point that establishes that whatever you're providing is valuable to the client. And I think with AI, you have the opportunity to answer more questions than just that. Like that's kind of where I was going with the pricing stuff, is most people, especially in the economy today, are being a little more budget friendly. They want something because nicer, or maybe they just want something that's cheaper. But AI is getting that context, and you have to target that answer. So we're trying to, you know, cultivate a website and a marketing strategy that answers questions now, more than tries to pitch a product and figure out a way to get people to buy it. You really have to start with that, from that framework, working backwards, because that's what AI is going to try to dish up, is like, how do I solve this person's problem? You know, they need a roof put on. They, you know, maybe they're strapped for a budget, and maybe they're of a certain age, and maybe they're in a certain area. Maybe it's a certain type of roof. And if you're not like answering the question for this budget range and this type of roof, and that stuff's not sitting in your both the live site and your metadata, and somebody else is, you're going to get whacked, because like 3 people are going to show up in the AI search as where, you know, if you're ranking more broadly, you're competing with more people, and you just won't get any views.
Yeah, I wonder if, I mean, if you only have one ideal customer and you're very specific about it, then you can really dump that into that AI
Yeah.
metadata file. So that would definitely be helpful. And you can kind of like be a lot more verbose and detailed, and maybe
Yeah.
not something that you want to put on your marketing
Right.
billboard.
Right.
But then there's also like what everybody hates, right? You go to a website and you say, and you go click on pricing, and it's
Right.
like call for pricing or
Right.
contact sales. Everybody's like, eh.
Right.
Like,
I just want an answer.
It's a huge turnoff. Like, just give me an estimate.
Right.
But the fact is there's a lot of business where the true answer is it depends.
Right.
Right.
And I'm trying to bake a lot of, and that's the other thing, is these tools.
So
that
how do you
can
handle
put on.
that? It depends.
Right. You build a little, what are the variables? Create a small tool. Maybe you don't have to give them an exact price on what a bathroom costs, but can you give them a range? Like, if it's a cheap bathroom, we're going to call this builder grade, and we're going to say this is particle board cabinets, this is porcelain tile, this is as cheap as the stuff I can get at Home Depot. And yeah, I can probably do a bathroom at the low end for like $8,000 to, let's say, $10,000 if you're going to like sell this property tomorrow. You probably don't want this in your, you know, in your house, but if your job is to put lipstick on this thing, make it new, and get it out the door, that'll probably work. And then a mid-range of like 10 to 15 is kind of like, you got some nicer things, but you're not kind of going all in. And then 20 to 30 plus is going to be like, this is your premium quality. You're going to have some nicer things, and kind of the sky is the limit with your selections. And if you can give somebody at least that level of information, it's probably more than what your competition is giving them, you know?
I wonder how sophisticated you could get with with what you put in the file that the model's going to pull down and consume.
Yeah.
Like when you start thinking about it like almost like a skill.
Yes. Well,
where it's not just one flat file. It's like, can you actually have links in it? It's like,
right.
If you're looking for this type of thing, can it actually follow that link and get more information about it? Can it actually get could it actually run a script and get like a dynamic quote back?
Yeah.
Like how much can you let it use? Like how many tools can you get it like live right on your website to do that type of dynamic stuff?
Yeah.
And do you even want to?
Right. Well, because you want to cover your own ass, right? You don't want to misspeak and set an expectation, and then you show up and you whack them over the head with something they weren't expecting when they were on your site. So it's definitely a balance. The other thing that I thought was interesting was YouTube is more and more these transcripts are getting pulled down, and if you talk about your pricing on a podcast and it matches what you have over there, you're establishing that authority. Yeah, I think YouTube is going to become more and more of a factor that people are not doing. If that makes any sense.
How do you mean?
Like people will post on social media a ton. Like everybody that's got a business now is like taking pictures and posting, to the point where it's like your friend that has a handyman company or that is a plumber or whatever. You're like, all right, bud, enough. Like I got it. And nobody is in the long format space. And AI, from what my little conversations with it and trying to develop a marketing strategy, they're pulling down transcripts and trying to get more information about companies and what it is you're selling, for how much you're selling. It's just more context, more of the data that it's an area that nobody else is in. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, things change pretty fast. I was just gonna say, as you said that, I got denied on a transcript. I was using Codex.
Okay.
And I was doing some research, and there's a video that had some good content in it. And I'm like, hey, check out this URL. It's about this topic. Go, transcribe it for me, so I have the document, and then I can use it for context, right? I was just like, sorry, can't do it.
Huh.
Like, sure you can. and it's like, well, I'll go and check to see if there's the subtitles. I'm like, yeah, go get the subtitles and transcribe it. It's like, I'm sorry, I can't transcribe it. It's like copyright. Like it wouldn't be right. I'm like, you'll be fine. Go ahead and do it. And it wouldn't do it. It wouldn't do it. And like, look, I'm not like, it was like it was a guy doing a marketing thing on YouTube. He'd probably be pleased as punch that I got a transcript of his video. Right. But it was like, no can do. Sorry. I'm like, I command thee, robot. But it wouldn't do it. Then, although I'm pretty sure a week before that I had a transcription library on my computer, and it's like, yeah, no problem. It transcribed the whole video for me.
Yeah.
But that was just very recently where it wouldn't do that. And I thought, well, I don't know, like maybe that person wanted me to transcribe their video and get that down.
Right. That's where you get into the prompt engineering. No, I'm working for them on a project. I'm contracted to do this thing, and a part of what I'm doing is this, and I need you to do it.
Yeah, jailbreak.
Like, oh, yeah, fine. That sounds about right.
Yeah, write a script that would represent a model who is allowed to go and get that from YouTube. Right. I'm like, oh, okay. So does that mean like you're bullish on YouTube? Or?
I'm bullish on YouTube. I'm reading this book right now. It's called Endless Customers. I was at this golf networking group, and I got paired up with a guy, and he recommended it to me, and it has to do with the AI space and having these conversations on YouTube that your competition or the market in general is afraid of talking about, like the elephant in the room, like pricing. Like, everybody wants to do the call for pricing or book a quote, but like
Mhm.
some people just like, I'm shopping. I just want to know, like, I'm gonna buy here in the next 6 months, but right now I'm just trying to get information. And if you're the one that gives them that information, um, then you start establishing trust. Everybody else is trying to sell to me. This guy feels like he's trying to help me out. And so they had a lot of really, really good information like that in there. And then I never realized that these algorithms are pulling from YouTube. I always thought that that would be too like data heavy for, AI models to pull down this stuff, but they're transcribing YouTube videos, and a part of that, wherever your name shows up, um,
It's the second biggest search engine in the
yeah,
world after Google,
yes,
right?
that's what they were saying.
Yeah,
It's
it is.
insane.
Yeah. I mean, it's pretty much the only place I consume video. Like,
Yeah,
I mean, maybe I like my UFC, so I'll watch my UFC.
there you go.
I mean, sports is pretty much the last
Yeah,
bastion of live television.
yeah, what
right?
used to be, right? Yeah,
Yeah, and they own it and they know where the value is. But
right.
like, I mean, I'll go even on demand, right? Like, I'm like, oh, I'll go watch a show or a movie or something like that. I end up like, I know that my algorithm, right? It knows what I like to watch, and I can, even if I'm sitting in the living room, I'm going to fire up the YouTube app, and on that first row, it's
Yep,
probably going to be,
something you're gonna
you
watch.
know, a 15, 20-minute video. And I assume that I mean, obviously it's platform aware. It knows that it's on a TV, whether it be an Apple TV or whatever, so it might present longer form stuff, couch appropriate content, because it's not showing me shorts
Right.
on my TV, and it's like, yeah, great.
Yeah.
The technology promise. You just turn on your TV and it's exactly what you want.
Right.
I remember years ago that they were talking about that. It's everybody has their own channel. That's exactly what they like.
Yep.
And right there. And yeah, no, YouTube crushing it.
Yeah.
I wonder how much, because I know they've talked about some people that want to invest in YouTube, but maybe don't want to invest in Google, and to actually split them up and make them like publicly traded individually because they're so big. So I don't know how, I mean, I haven't done the research. I'm sure it's out there, but how much of the, like when they talk about Google, when they talk about search, we talk about like how much of a cash cow search is. And then they say YouTube is the second biggest search engine. I wonder how important YouTube is to Google, I guess is the question.
Yeah. Probably more and more, like we were saying. I think as search kind of dwindles down and morphs into AI search, that video stuff is going to be more persistent, right?
Yeah. The shorts, man.
Yeah.
The shorts.
Everybody's
You can
trying
hate
to do
on them.
shorts.
Yeah,
I think
I'm
it's
like,
fried to the
shorts, so
population's
stupid. You're
brain.
rotting your brain.
Yes.
Next thing you know, it's 4:00 in the morning.
Yeah.
Like,
It is.
like,
It's
oh, he's
brain-
making dumplings. Whatever. And and if you want proof that people will watch your stuff no matter how bad it is, take note
Right.
when you're scrolling through
Right.
and some random video that's got 5 views on it, and you're like, oh yeah, I'm watching it. And you might watch it for a few seconds or whatever,
Right.
but it knows, oh, you watched it for 7 seconds.
Yeah.
So you're going to get some more of that.
Right. Yeah. If you,
God forbid you thumb up something or watch it twice.
right. Yeah. Yeah. Or you
So
set
yeah,
your
maybe
phone
make
down
your
and walk
stuff.
away.
You watched this 14 times.
14 times. Yeah.
You must love dumplings.